Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Fresh Crits of Melbourne. Today we're back on a course that you might not have seen in a very long time, although I do race it every Thursday, but unfortunately Southern Masters don't allow me to run cameras. Please hit them up and get them and ask them to see if we can run cameras there, because it is some really good racing on a Thursday night Masters race. It's probably the hardest racing in Melbourne. So Sandown, what is it? It's a course known more commonly for V8 supercar racing, and there is plenty of horsepower on the course today. I hope you like that little segue there. So this race actually took place on the 19th of November, and it's a part of the Caulfield Carnegie's Beach Road Ruler Championships, I guess. So essentially what it is, it's a team crit. But it's not your average team crit, because how they do it is they count up the points across all the different grades you have teams in, and essentially the overall team with the overall amount of points wins the race. So if you've got a team in C grade and a team in B grade and they do really well, but a team in A grade that's no good, because you've accumulated the most points across all the grades, you win the trophy or the socks or whatever Carnegie wants to hand out. So it's a really great idea to get people that are riding on Beach Road that aren't really that used to racing to come down to Sandown on a Tuesday afternoon, really wide circuits, and just give racing a crack, because I think it's probably one of the better places to learn how to ride with these open circuits. So coming down on a Tuesday night, check them out on their website and on Entry Boss to sign up on a Tuesday night. So I'm riding for Race Atlas / Aussie Champs +1. Ask Nico. I don't understand the name. He thinks he's an Oz champion, didn't win the race, but we won't get there. And we've got the other teams in A grade, which we're racing in today, is Cranetech, as well as the Licorice All Sorts, which is exactly as the name provides. It's basically just a bunch of all the other riders who didn't have a team, who just thought they'd sign up and have a bit of a crack and have a race. So one of the Keystone riders, Ben Patrick's flown off the front, off the ramp, and I thought, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm on the tailwind straight. Let's bridge across to him. Let's get a rider up the road for Race Atlas. I can cover this move here and see where it goes. Really spark the race up. Classic Sandown conditions today on the tail back straight. We have a tailwind, and as you saw there's a little bit of a berg that you have to kind of get up, but it's not too bad. But after some tired legs, it does get a little bit harder. This is the tailwind. Like I said, you make a pretty hard left-hand, fast corner up here. You don't want to pedal through that one, and you basically straighten the crosswinds and into the main straight, which is pretty much a block headwind. So most of the attacks are going to be done on this section of the road that we're on right now, up this berg and that tailwind, because that's where the draft is quite minimal. Okay, so you want to make sure you can split the group, hit it with pace, and then carry it over the top of the berg. And then if you're good enough, you can actually cause a few gaps on this corner here. Look at one of the best photographers in Melbourne on the right there. Michael Eddy's always taking some great photos of the riders and racers in across all Caulfield Carnegie's grades. So yeah, we've got some really, really good teams here. Keystone Cranetech, Race Atlas, both blowing ourselves apart trying to animate this race. And with 4 minutes in, we've established a little group gone off the front here. You can see in the rear cam, that's Ben Patrick, hailing from Warragul of all places. I haven't seen him. And we do our best to try to drop him, basically, but we'll touch on him a little bit later. Behind him, we've got Masters 1 TT National Champion, Adam Van Stockrum, also the owner of Keystone Racing. And then lastly, number 12 in the Race Atlas kit on the lovely Propel, that's Lewis Bull, who's relatively fresh off an injury, but definitely doesn't show any signs of slowing down. So we've got a nice little group. There's 4 riders here pulling nice solid turns, and there's a decent gap in the rear cam. I can't see any riders in the distance there, so let's see how this one plays out. We're going to skip forward a little bit of time here and see how this little breakaway goes. Before I do that, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and that little bell button. I think that does good things too. And if you want to throw a few shekels my way, hit that thanks button. It's all appreciated. What we'll do now is skip forward a little bit into this race and see how this breakaway plays out. Alrighty, we skipped precisely 13 minutes into the race now, so 28 down with still 27 kilometers to go. And we're already starting to sense some weakness within the cranetech team. So if you haven't noticed already, now we've had a few extra riders bridge across to this one. So the peloton, or sorry, the breakaway group is now from Race Atlas, myself, Dean and Lewis, whilst from cranetech we've got Adam, Ben Patrick, JJ, as well as new recruit Josh Brooker, who's recently signed with them. So a really good group has now formed up the road, but we're starting to sense weakness. Starting to really sense weakness. I've just pulled off the front after putting in a pretty big turn, and look at the rear cam. This is not a good sign. There are heads down everywhere. Brooke is putting in 1 billion watts on his gravel bike to try to get across. Splits happening everywhere as Deano gets on the front. My heart rate's starting to get up there, 176 beats. Josh is doing whatever he can to stay within this race as we take this left-hand corner now into the crosswind sections. Everything is about to get blown apart, and this is why it's so important to close those gaps when you can, because if you let that gap open up too much, it is race over. Lewis has done the right thing, coming up on the inside. Ben Patrick's doing a really good job staying within the race. You see in that rear cam, JJ is really starting to fade. Look at the pain face on Josh. We love to see it, and I'm going to stay on this camera angle a little bit longer just so we can watch that pain face there. It is a great sign to see. It's what racing's all about. We come around into the block headwind. Is JJ still with us? Just. He's hanging on by a thread. Lewis has just come off the front. We'll flick back to the front cam now, where I'm getting on the front and trying to drop the riders in the rear cam, pushing up to 500 watts. I know I'm doing damage in the back, so let's make it hard for everyone. My heart rate's dropped down, so I'm in a pretty comfortable place, but I know damage is getting done. Josh gets on the front, but I don't think he's fully aware of what's going on behind him because his teammate is starting to fade. JJ's head's down. He stopped pedaling. He's reaching for the bottles. He's pulled the ripcord. It is all over for JJ. Has Josh Brooker, the new recruit of cranetech, just dropped his teammate? Big issues at cranetech already. But no, I think the damage was done before that. Unfortunately, JJ goes back to the main group, recoups his losses, and hopefully he's able to come back. So now, this race has taken a very interesting turn. So we're down to 3 Race Atlas and 3 cranetech riders. It's 3v3. Points are on the line. Ego's on the line. Everything's on the line this afternoon. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. But with JJ now off the back and still 25Ks left, the conclusion of this race is anybody's guess. So make sure you do stick around and hit that subscribe button along the way to find out what happens. With about 10 kilometers left in this race, it is being cracked wide open with attacks coming thick and fast coming into the last few laps here at Sandown. Josh Brooker's managed to sneak off the front after I put it in the gutter in the crosswind section before we've hit the front straight here. Adam swings off as Deano sprints up the inside to get some separation on Adam. I'm sticking like glue to Ad's wheel. I don't want to let go of that draft, but you can see Bully in the rear cam. He's starting to fade really hard now. Everyone's starting to get fatigued. Ad shakes his head. He's not going to try to chase that move of Ben Patrick, so I'm having to spark up to 1200 watts to sprint over to his wheel, which makes it really hard for Ads to get into my draft because I've created that separation nice and quickly, and I'm trying to get nice, small, and aero on the bike to make my draft as small as I possibly can. I'm able to snap onto Ben Patrick's wheel here with Deano pulling on the front. We've caught Josh on the main straight. He's burned a match. Deano's burned a match. Ben's burned a match. I've burned a match. And Adam has also burned a match. But in the rear cam, you can just see Bully starting to come across. He knows how important it is for him to get across to this race. And to be honest, I have 100% confidence that the man will be. All the Race Atlas boys have been sipping on SulNutrition secret recipe this entire race to make sure that we are as fresh as a daisy coming into that final sprint. We're going to make this left-hand corner here into the tail straight. And that's where all the attacks have been happening all night. And just as it happens once again, Adam sprints coming into that corner, which, in my opinion, probably not the best idea because you do have to freewheel as you come into that. But nonetheless, he manages to create separation, gets caught. Deano catches him. Deano sends one up the road. I'm thinking, all right, this is a good idea to attack Adam because he's looking pretty tight. So I sprint up the inside and try to really create some separation. I get into their draft. I create a little gap and then spark it on the far right-hand side, make it really hard for Ben Patrick to follow my wheel. You can see Adam and Brooker are both fading in the rear cam. This could be the move that wins the race. Do I have the legs to carry it up this berg? I know that Ben Patrick's on my rear wheel. I flick him through. He sees that I'm tight, so he launches an attack. We're at 178 beats, throwing left hooks, right hooks, uppercuts to try to break this race apart. 179 beats. We are 100% peaking right now. There's nothing left, and you can see in the rear cam, the Terminators are coming. Here comes the T1000. Deano's bridging across to me. He's in his wheel. He's got Brooker, and I believe Adam's in tow as well. Deano looks behind, only sees Brooker, and this is the perfect time for Deano to hit me with a counter attack. And there he goes, that seated acceleration of his. Doesn't look like he's working that hard, but he's pushing 500 watts. Joshy goes with him, just hanging onto his wheel. So my thought process is here, I don't need to chase that move. Remember, this is a team's crit. I'm backing Deano, beating a gravel-biked Brooker in a sprint. Sorry, Brooker, that's just the state of play here. Deano's going to beat you in a sprint. Unfortunately, mate, at this present time, so I'm not going to chase that. I back those two. Now it comes down to me and Ben Patrick. Do I have the legs to beat Ben Patrick in a sprint? I don't know. I've never met the guy. I've never raced against him. We've tried to drop him multiple times this race, but we haven't been able to get the job done. In the rear cam, daylight. Where's Bully? Gone. Where's Adam? Gone. Or are they? After sitting on the front for most of the front straight here, Ads and Bully are back. God knows how they have done it. You saw the footage before. There was proper daylight between us, me, Ben Patrick, and the two boys there. Just as they were caught, boom, Ben Patrick launched another flyer straight up the back straight. Look at the cheeky glance behind he gives me as he tries to accelerate off the front. Bully head down, trying to TT his way back over to my wheel to provide me with support. It's brutal. Just as they got across, that's when Ben Patrick sparked it, and then he sits up, knows that he's been caught. I wait for Bully to go through. Look at the guts on the man as he rolls over the front and tries to get away, but there's limited strength left in those legs. It's a long, long race. 60 minutes in, 4.8 kilometers left. Now, what happens now? We're in a proper stalemate. 2v2, everybody's cooked. Deano and Brooker up the road. They're not going to get caught. We're racing for third. I throw in a bit of a fake sprint just to test the legs, and that's where Adam goes. He throws the final blow in this last 1.5 lap crit left. It's go for broke time right now. Unfortunately, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say, as it's dropped Bully. Now, little Steve Flack, little fresh crits, is out of position. He's in a whole bunch of drama now because it's basically one RA against two extremely strong cranetech riders. What am I going to do tactically to give myself the best advantage in this? Because I know if I was in these two boys' situations, I'd just be throwing attack after attack after attack until finally I can't go anymore. But keeping in mind, this is a team's crit. I know I've said this a few times. It's points all the way down to 5th place, I believe. So regardless of the position, cranetech's in the positive situation here. They've got the numbers. If, in hindsight, if Deano comes first, Brooker comes second, I come third, and then Ben Patrick and Ads 4th, 5th, they get the points. So if either one of those guys can beat me in this sprint, then they're going to come home with the chocolates or the points. But remember, this is just the first battle over a 4 or 3 race war. So there's still plenty of time left in the whole series to claw back victory. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We're coming into the final main straight here. We're going to get the bell lap from the Carnegie Cycling Club's connoisseur here. You'll see it on the right-hand side to know 1 lap left. Now, I want this race right now to be as slow as possible, because if the race is slow, Bully gets back and he can provide support. But, so at zero moment am I going to be wanting to be on the front, because it just makes no sense. If I'm on the front, it means I'm going to be getting attacked, which is not what I want to be. I just need to follow the wheels. So here Ads come, he rolls up on the outside now. He launches a seated acceleration. I know he's tired because he's got more watts than that. Still, 1,000 watts, another attack. I sit in his wheel, he swings off. He's trying to shake me off his wheel now. I hate it when people do this because you can't get a draft. It's so hard, so I'm just doing whatever I can. But if you look in the rear cam, Ben Patrick's gone. I didn't know this at the time. I check left and right, but I don't look behind. Ben Patrick's been dropped off the wheel, and that's when I start to go. I launch it, but I'm also mindful. If I'm on the front too long here, I'm just going to get rolled by Adam. So it's a really particular situation. I really need to play it quite smart here. Ben Patrick's been distanced. He has been. I love saying his name. Full name. Ben Patrick. Good name. We're coming into the crosswind section here, but everything's still together. I know, I just want to have, I'm saying to Ads, man, that guy's so strong, why can't we drop him? He's like, mate, he's from Warrigal. They're born around milk farms up there, they're super strong, I don't know what it is. Well, I know, coming into this final straight here, things are going to get hard. I'm going to expect blows left, right, and center, so I've got to make sure that I'm staying composed, staying smart, following the right wheels, and making sure that I can slip into any sort of draft and not expend any energy. Basically, half a lap left to go here. 2 kilometers left. I'm on the front. We're doing 30 Ks. I want to keep the race nice and slow. Hopefully, Bully can come across. And that's when Adam realised pace is too slow. He goes onto the front. I'm like, perfect. I'm happy. I'm backing myself. Remember, I'm backing myself to beat Ben Patrick in a sprint. If Adam's on the front, that's a good thing for me. I think Adam probably has more watts than me in a sprint. So if he's on the front, I'm going to be in a good place. Because if he leads a sprint out, I'm good to go. I back myself against Ben Patrick. Ads is carrying the pace, 44 Ks in a tailwind, probably not super fast up the back straight here, but look, I'm not complaining. I just want to get my heart rate nice and low. I want to make sure I'm recuperating all that free energy for the sprint at the end. And also waiting is if Ben Patch is going to throw another sprint, throw another jab. And of course he does. This guy's non-stop, puts it right in the gutter. But I know full well I'm cooked. If I'm cooked, he's going to be cooked as well. If I'm feeling pain, he's going to be hurting just as much. Now, this is what I'm worried about. Ben Patrick's just thrown one. Is Ads going to throw the next jab? No. He plays a mature role. He gets on the front, slows the pace down, keeps it at a gentle pace, keep it all together. He's wanting to lead out Ben Patrick to roll me in the sprint. Under 1 kilometre left, ladies and gentlemen. 2v1. How's this going to play out? Well, we're going to have to stay tuned to find out. We're coming into the fast left-hander here. Now, keeping in mind that on the left-hand corner here where it goes crosswinds, it's a really good opportunity for Ads to put it into the gutter. It's also a good time where attacks are normally sent because, you know, it's really hard to get in a draft when it's hardcore crosswinds, so I'm also mindful of that. Notice I'm in the drops. I'm ready to go. My fingers are on the shifters, ready to get out of the saddle and rip a sprint to snap back onto a wheel if I get attacked. We come around this corner nice and slow, 44 Ks an hour. In the crosswind section, Ads is keeping on the left-hand side, so I'm able to sit in a draft. I'm literally counting down the seconds before I'm going to have to spark it up. I'm trying to control my breathing, big deep breaths, trying to get as relaxed as I possibly can coming to sprint. My head's on a swivel. I'm looking around. I can't look at the shadows. The sun's in the wrong direction, so I don't know where Ben Patrick is. So I'm constantly looking around, checking to see where he is. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the fireworks set off. We come around the corner. Ad swings left. I go for broke. I rip it from the bottom corner, 1400 watts, everything I've got, head nice and low, nice and small. Ben Patrick's closing fast, but does he have the legs? The finish line's just there. I think I've got him. I throw on the line and I take out third place. I win the bunch sprint out of these two boys. I'm wrapped with that result. A really, really long, deep sprint for me. Heart rate absolutely maxed out. But I think I played my cards right here. So let's talk results. We've got, in first place of the teams, Crit, we've got Team Race Atlas / the Aussie Champs +1. Second place, Keystone Racing. In third place, Licorice All Sorts. We have another one coming up very soon, so make sure you head to the Caulfield Carnegie website. Links are below. It's also on Entry Boss. Check them out there. Their Instagram and stuff there as well. Guys, get on down to this. It's a sick race. Great circuit. You're missing out if you're not here. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment, bell, all that stuff, all that fun stuff. Chuck SulNutrition to look into as well. They are the guys that keep us fueled for these sorts of races, and fueling we certainly needed. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay rubber side down. Ciao.
Yeah. Steve came up to me, he's like, I'm going to put it in the gutter. And I was like, no, I'm going to get dry. Yeah. Put it in the gutter. You put it in the gutter. We were second last field. I was screaming, oh, yeah. I was like, have a look around. Give these guys the best time of your life. He turned out to get shelled in the gutter. And came around. I was like, don't do that again. You're like, you're all right. Steve had to close the gap. I was fast.